It's on there. Just come on the notification.
Sorry, I will stop today. Thank you for today. Shut on Monday.
Internet's really dodgy again now. Hopefully. Well, welcome to the REPOSS Isthmian show. We're here again, for the next 2 hours. And, of course, as usual, by my side, of course, is Keith. So welcome back, Keith. Week off last week.
Yes, yeah.
Feeling better?
Yeah, a bit. Still got it, mate. Dreaded flu. Everyone's, I think, nearly everyone in the country's had it. So, yeah, trying to pass it on to the missus. But
So you want to take it off?
Get it. So maybe I have to be at home for that. But yeah, no, nice to be back.
Yeah, good. Well, of course, joining us later on, we've got Peter Dudley. He'll come and join us about 8 o'clock. Of course, he's from the non-league show that, of course, goes out on East London Radio. He'll join us at about 8 o'clock. And then we've got Steve McKimm, and he'll join us at around about 8:30 tonight. Of course, the manager down at Tonbridge Angels. So we'll have a chat with Steve a little bit later. But I suppose, as we normally do, we'll go through some of these scores and results from the weekend. I'll start with the Premier Division. Then Burgess Town 0, Bognor Regis Town 2, and looks like a 99th minute penalty in one of those games. So.
Yeah, it must have been a long,
2 penalties as well.
Yeah, long delay, mate, but decent crowd there, 500 as well.
Yeah.
Result I expected Bognor to do, even though Burgess still have picked up a few results of late, so just to get them sort of keep in touch with people just above them. But I expected Bognor to get a win there, Dave, if I'm honest.
Crinford Casuals 2, Leatherhead 1, 404 there.
Crowd for Crinford. Yeah, no. It's, I think they've got their forward back as well. I think he's got 2, and yeah, good home win for them. Keeps them mid-table, and it's Leatherhead sort of just don't seem to get any runs at the moment, Dave, do they? They just seem to win one, maybe draw one, and they're just plodding along. But yeah, I think they're both going to be safe this year, if I'm honest.
Folkestone Victor 5, AFC Hornchurch 0. It's quite funny on the other show, we was talking about this game, and I think it was Dean that said to me, he said, you know what, I've just got a slight feeling that Hornchurch could take a bit of a walloping at the weekend, and so it seemed.
Yeah, folks have started to get some form, haven't they? We was talking about them before Christmas, or even before that, saying that they hadn't been the side of last year, and now they just find themselves right outside the playoffs, and Hornchurch again the other way, Dave, where we said at the beginning of the season, what a great start them and Potters Bar have had. Now they're searching for points, and as me and you said before we went live, to only win 4 games all season is relegation material, unfortunately, and I really hope they don't. Obviously, with Jim leaving, so they've got a lot of good players there. I know they've lost a few, but they need to get some results pretty bad.
Yeah, it does look a bit desperate at the minute. They're sort of heading in that wrong direction and don't seem to be putting it right. And you say 12 draws, and you look at those draws there, it's another 24 points. They'd be second.
Yeah.
So it's the draws that are they're absolutely killing them.
But at the moment, them draws would maybe push them, keep them out of the way, Dave, as well. They not seem to be drawing many at the moment. They just seem to be getting a lot of defeats. They drew a lot at the beginning of the season, didn't they? So they do need to start picking up some points, and at home as well, I think, is where could be the key for them.
Yeah, absolutely. Shock of the day, really, I think, for me. Harlow Town 2, Haringey Borough won, and I think Hitchcock missed a penalty in that game as well to make it. Could have made it 3-1.
Well, I think their new signing scored as well, didn't he, for Harlow? But what a great result! I think that could be result of the season so far. We keep, having we don't have a go at Harlow. We say they're struggling, and we want them to do well. Well, what a result! And now the crowd, a decent crowd was there. Can hopefully get behind them, and they can start picking some results up there. They desperately needed that. It keeps them in contact with, the teams just above them. So by a point, so no, it's a massive win for Danny. I'm well pleased for him.
Yeah, I thought we was going to get a cup of coffee then from it. There we go. Merstham 1, Enfield Town 0, and Mershall just keep going, don't they?
It's a great result, Dave. Lovely. Listen, it's Enfield are just above them now. They've pulled them in. Complete opposite to Hornchurch. They didn't have a great start to the season, and all of a sudden now they're on the roll. Hayden's got them playing well. They've signed some good players. They are a good side. They seem to be not conceding like they used to. It used to be a 4-3, 5-1. But now they're just to go and win 1-0 against a strong Enfield side. Very good result.
And of course, Spencer said he tuned in at the right time, and I think he donned the boots as well in a charity game at the week. So he's probably aching a little bit, I expect, on Saturday. But Jake's just said, "I told you we would win." He did indeed. He did actually say that on last Monday that he thought they were going to win. They beat Tonbridge, who were top, and then straight away they've done the same again. So massive congratulations to them. And of course, they were voted Team of the Week this week as well, so congratulations to Harlow Town on that one as well. So we're just saying what we want to should
as it goes. It's AV who can after us.
Potters Bar Town 0, Brighton C2, another team that seemed to be going in the right direction.
Yeah, picking points up again, aren't they? Doing ever so well, David. To go to Potters Bar and get a result, keep it sheet. Another late 2 penalties in that game as well. Yeah. Late one as well. Obviously, referees have gone penalty crazy this weekend. But no, good result for them. And if you look, they've got themselves in a very good position there.
Well, somebody's watching for the first time tonight, Andy Ravens, who welcome Andy, and hope you enjoy the show. And we've got somebody tuned in as well, Adam Davison from Folkestone as well, which is fantastic. So,
gents, if any of you want to call in, especially obviously any of Folkestone, our number's there. It's 07912 35 005. And just tell us how your season's going. We've got a little bit of time, haven't we? Before we start bringing some people. You don't want to just hear us boring you for a while.
So as we said, 07912 435 005. It's 07912 435 005. If you want to talk to us about your team tonight, or even if Spencer wants to give us a shout and tell us how his legs are, but by all means, give us a call in. Tonbridge Angels 3, Kingstonian 2, and boy, did they need that.
Yeah, they did. 2 goals in a minute for Kingstonian as well. So thank you very much for that. It's top of the table. Third versus or fourth was it, I think, or fifth. No, even longer.
Further down, Tonbridge,
they did need the win, and Kingstonian be a bit disappointed. Maybe they haven't come away with something, but obviously Alex Reid scoring again early doors keeps him going.
Chinder McKenzie as well, getting one as well.
Was that on his debut? It was his home debut at least. Adds more firepower, didn't it? Reid and Chinder up front, decent firepower that.
Whitehawk 1, Dorking Wanderers 1. It looked like it might have been a shock for 2 minutes at least.
Big surprise that day. Big surprise. I thought when I had that as an away win all day long. But Whitehawk need to start picking some points up. They're getting cut adrift now. Is it the 7 points out of the relegation zone? I think it doesn't look great for them, but they've, I know they've still got 18 games or whatever, or 22 games left, but they need to start picking up some points.
They're the ones that are getting marooned at the minute.
They are.
Worthing 3, Lewis 4, 1,124 there, so well worth the entrance fee there.
Yeah, of course as well. What a game, a last minute winner as well. Lewis have put themselves in a brilliant position, and they've come up. Always said that, strong side, lovely club, and are reaping the benefits. And 2 teams have got promoted who are sitting at the top of the table at the moment in the Premier. So, hope for everyone.
Yeah, absolutely. The table for them, Haringey Borough, they're sitting top. They played 25 with 49. Lewis have got 24 with 41. Kingstone in 25 with 41. Dorking 23 with 41. Bognor Regis 25 with 39. Folkestone and Victor 25 with 39. Enfield Town 24 with 38. Worthing with 38. Mersham with 38. And Tonbridge with 36. So it's very congested up there.
Very is tight. It always is in this league, though, Dave, isn't it? We say about it all the time. You know, the top and bottom is always mega tight. And, anyone down to, I always said, anyone down to 16th, 17th have got a chance to get to the playoffs. It's only like 8-10 points. And anyone sort of from bottom to 18th have got a chance, obviously, to stay up.
Yeah. Well, going into the North Division, the one I was at the weekend, Averley 3, Felixstowe and Walton 2, 294 here.
2-1 down as well, Dave.
Yeah, 1-0 up, 2-1 down. Went on to win 3-2. Could have won it 4-2 maybe as well. But for me, I think I'll get shot down in flames for this, I dare say. But I don't know. Did we do enough to win? Maybe just. But I thought, if it had been a draw at the end of it, then I think that probably would have been the right result for me. I think Felixstowe were definitely in it, trying to catch us on the break every now and again. Maybe if we had finishing boots on a little bit more, maybe we might have won it by a little bit more. But for me, it was I don't know. Again, if we would have been sitting here tonight and he said it was 2-2 or 3-3, then I probably would have said, that's that was about the right result.
Game though, but obviously it keeps Averley in a great position, doesn't
absolutely.
it? And keeps them going. So they've got to win their own games, and they have. So I think at the end of the day, you look at you look back and you just see 3 points.
Absolutely. And it's those type of games, that at the end of the season could be the difference between getting up and not.
Exactly right.
Basildon United 0, Tilbury 3.
Yep, great strike. They've got a decent strike force now, Tilbury, haven't they? Liam Smith, I think he got 2, and Sykesy as well. I know, obviously, my mate Stuart Zanone's found himself at Basildon this week. I think that must be his 25th club of the year. Just can't seem to sort of get himself, but he will get them goals. But they just seem to have obviously the wheels have definitely fallen off there, Dave, haven't they? And it was a good job that I got them points early doors. Otherwise they'd be sitting at the bottom of the league. Yeah,
struggling now. Bales of Pitsea 3, AFC Sudbury 0, 3 52, 76 and 90.
Yeah, another good result. I can't see anyone catching these. I know it's tight, and I know Avery and Haybridge who got themselves back in a great position, but they just seem to just keep playing. They're like a machine at the moment. Just keep playing on and on, especially at home. Yeah. Good result for them.
Are you surprised by the gate though?
Yeah, but listen, it's no one likes watching football on national turf, Dave.
Do you know what? I'll get it on a Monday and I'll get it on a Thursday now.
There you go. Did you see about the rugby? What they're saying about the injuries? Did you see that in the week?
I didn't see it. No. I dare say Mr. Wickenden and Mr. Barker will be telling me all about it on Thursday night.
Someone sharing that.
What's that? Yeah, I think we are. One sip each.
You can have it.
No, good, you can keep it going. Brentwood Town 3, Great Wakering 2.
They just keep pulling out some great results. No, Wakering, obviously, I didn't realise where they were in the league, Dave. I actually thought they were sitting really pretty in mid-table. And I know I spoke to Gary Kimball in the week. He spoke to me about a player. But Brentwood, obviously I know Buddy there and I know the physio there, and they just seem to picking up some great results.
They seem to pick up results you don't expect, and the ones that you do expect
them to
do.
That's the consistency in it. But Brentwood have always been like that, I think. They're renowned for that. But be interesting when some bad weather starts turning and how their pitch holds up. I don't know. I've not been over there this year, but obviously it's renowned, not great, is it? But fair play to them. I said they must be a good team to go and watch for the neutral, because they do seem to bags and goals. And they are a team that normally struggling towards the wrong end of the league. I know they got up once, but fair play to them. Good, decent clubs, a couple of really nice people over there at the committee. Yeah.
Bury Town 1, Canby Island 1. Again, another really, really late equaliser in the 90th minute, and 311 there. And I say Bury always having a great crowd.
They are. I tell you. We look at teams. Do you think they'll be disappointed, Canby? Last year they kept saying they didn't have the wages because they were building this new clubhouse. Now, this year, if this would be the year they'd have a go, and they're just sitting mid-table. I know, they can put some results together and get themselves in it.
10 points out of the playoffs.
Yeah, but there's some big teams above them, Dave. They're not like some of the other leagues, well, one league, but it's 10 points is a lot. I can't see them I don't know what they've got to go on and want to do it. I know, listen, I know Martin Turing that watches the show and he began but they've got some decent players, but It seems weird to me where they are.
Cockershall Town 3, Soundtown Rangers 0.
Yeah, I think that was expected, wasn't it? Obviously, they're keeping themselves in there, aren't they, in the hunt, just in the playoffs. And I think they'll be a team that not many people are going to want. There's a 7-point gap now, isn't there, between them and the playoff players?
Dereham Town 1, Haybridge Swiss 3, and Dereham took the lead. And for a long time, it looked as if that was going to be the shock of the weekend.
Yeah, they need some points as well, don't they, Dereham? I think after our chat before Christmas with Nick, I don't think they're going to catch anyone, mate. I really don't. I think Romford have got a good chance still, but they've seemed to have popped themselves back in that position.
Yeah, and the next game's at Averley as well.
Yeah,
home to Averley at the weekend, so it doesn't get any easier for Dereham. But
didn't you smash them at their
over here first game of the season?
Did,
yeah. Malden Tiptree 2, Grays Athletic 2.
Yeah, it sounds a great game, but obviously both of them are sitting. I think a couple of 2 places between the difference, but it still, as I just said, keeps that 7-8 point gap between Malden and Grays, and that's what they would have wanted. So you can keep that gap, you keep going, but it seems decent. But obviously, I know Kieran Bishop scored again, didn't he? But Malden keep going there.
Yeah.
Funny, do you think that we keep saying this? They seem to get in the playoffs nearly every year, don't they, or near the playoffs?
Yeah.
Just can't get over that line, and I think they've been there for about the last 10 years.
Someone said to me, I don't might have even been Dean or that said to me that once they get up and they get over the line, then they've got a feeling then that they'll be away. But it's just a matter of getting out of the league in the first place.
It's not easy to do it, mate. Not easy to do it, but I just said they're always there and thereabouts, and sometimes you just sit there and think, is it ever going to happen?
Yeah. Well, we had that situation when it was at Arlo, 3 or 4 years in the playoffs, you think it's just never going to happen. And then finally, when you had the toughest probably route to get through, you get through. So, Milden Hall 0, Whittam 2. Oh no, sorry, Milden Hall 2, Whittam 0, 2 own goals.
Yeah, sounds like Burnley. Fulham. Milden Hall would have taken that though, didn't they? They need the points, David. Like I said, them points took them above Romford and puts them in 1 point, or even 3 or 4 points of Whittam. Obviously hanging in there as well. But as I said, that end of the table is just as interesting as the top end as well.
A long journey for Mr. Beardwell to come back with nothing.
Yes, yeah.
Romford 0, Barking 0. Surprised at that one?
Yeah, I was, because I seen the week that Barking went to Dudley and played them in the London Cup and was saying that how good they were and etc. And I thought they would go and get a result, but as Justin knows, Romford ain't easy place to go, and they're one that can beat the top of the league. They can beat you, and it's this point that they need, but they do need to start picking up a couple more. Yeah. So do Barking, really. Yeah.
Well, the table there, Bowser Pitsy, they're still top. They've got 47. Haybridge Swifts have got 44. Averley got 2 games in hand on 42. Malden Tiptree have got 41. Coggeshall have got 39. Grays have got 32 with a game in hand. AFC Sudbury with 31. Tilbury and Bury both on 30. And then at the bottom it's Dereham Town. We've got 14. Romford on 18. Milden Hall on 18. Soham on 19. Whittam on 22. And Great Wakeland on 22. So, I mean, who do you see, down there that's maybe the ones that...
Dereham, obviously, because they're 4 points cut adrift, Dave. And I know it only seems 4 points, but, when you can't pick a point up and you're struggling... It's a big 4 points. Yeah. So,
but, I mean, how would they feel down there as well? If in the end it's only like 2 points and they've had the 3 points deducted. I mean, that's got to be horrific, wouldn't it?
Well, still, I suppose you're the manager. You want to bend the geezer over and kick them in the plums as hard as you can. But at this level, it happens because they're mostly not paid. They're volunteers, but it's difficult. It is difficult when you make mistakes. It's sad.
South Central Division then, and it's Bedford Sports 1, Chipstead 0, 54 there to see that game. Bracknell 4, South Park 3, 261.
Surprise, South Park obviously made a bit more of a game of that one. Bracknell obviously, you would have expected them to win that.
But then again, they lost heavily, didn't they, to Ware as well? And it just seems to be when you don't expect it to go belly up.
It's a few funny results those days, doesn't it? So you're going to get things like that. But but again, they're at home. They got back winning ways, and I think we'll talk about it in a minute. But I think out of all the leagues, I think this one's sewn up.
Yeah. Cheshunt 1, Ashford Town 0. Jason Hallett scored again.
He was up there last week, Dave. So gave him a bit of luck. So they'll be happy with that. Keeps them in a in the hunt, in the playoffs, in third place. So yeah, no, I think Craig will be over the moon with that clean sheet as well.
I just wonder if he wore his Peaky Blinders outfit when he was on the bench.
Yeah, they're having all that, aren't they, up there? It must be a new thing. Don't laugh at each other.
Yeah. Egham Town 1, Chalfont St Peter 1, 82 there.
Yeah, Egham obviously new manager. Then they started to pick a couple of points up, haven't they? I think what they've got themselves now. They've got themselves
still bottom there, but dead level.
Well, 2 points from Molesley, aren't they? We don't want them to catch them.
No.
So Molesley, we're going to do you a favour. South Park and Egham, both secretaries. Can you make mistakes, please? Well, that'd be biased, don't we?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
Everyone's missed me. Controversial over Christmas, haven't they? I ain't changed. New Year's resolution wasn't to be nice.
Hemwell Town 6, FC Romania 2. FC Romania were one of those ones that just looked like they were they got a couple of decent results, looked like they were going to be heading up the table a little bit, and then it's just gone whoop and just gone.
Yeah, it does. I said to you before, Dave, about Hemwell. I thought they were a very good side. I know they lost a couple of players, but on their day, they could be a handful. And I think they're going to be disappointed where they are in the league. I think maybe the FA Cup or FA Trophy, not the FA Trophy because we knocked them out, but the FA Cup run might come back autumn because they had a lot of games in hand, didn't they? And they didn't seem to be able to turn them into wins, which is sort of ridiculous. This is, I think we're going to talk about it later, but midweek games I think is an issue, and I know people complain that they have too many games. Now every manager I'm speaking to is complaining there's no games. They had so many games in hand, 3 or 4. I just don't see why they have to play them within the 42 days. Wouldn't it be sensible just to let them spread it out a bit? Like now, we're all sitting there balls like stiff. It might have helped them out.
Especially bad weather as well. It's sort of...
Yeah, I know you can always say, listen, I'm not going to go. I'm just saying that's, I don't know where common sense comes in. There isn't any in football.
No. Marlow 0, Westfield 1, 131 0.
That's a great result.
Great result.
I know they're just below them. Excuse me, Dave, but no, they're in that's a big win for them, and it keeps them right behind them.
And that's 2 really good wins for them because they beat the Abbey as well, away as well, didn't they? As well? So by the same score last week. So a couple of toughies, and they come away with the 4 points.
Yeah.
Molesley 0, Ware 3.
Boo. Fair play there. They seem to be on a good run, Dave, don't they? They seem to be picking some points up and moving themselves up. They sit 7th. It's really funny, isn't it? Maybe not, but when Ware seem to move out of the north, they have a great year. When they got put in the Southern whatever league the other year, they finished mid. Coming to us, I think they might. I think they got maybe a reprieve, or they stayed up on the last day of the season. Yeah. Last year the same. This year they go over to the Southern, the Central League, and they're doing well again. Strange, isn't it? How that happens.
Might be just preliminary. I can't even say the word, but
familiarity.
Yeah,
it is that. I preferred you saying it.
Yeah.
But it could be. Obviously, maybe I don't know. It's not. I just don't know what it is. Maybe Scooby knows it. But it's they just seem to be doing well, don't they? And fair play to them. I know this year they've had their pitch redone. Could be a big difference, playing on a decent surface at home. They're on a good run. So they've got themselves, 5 points outside the players? A few points.
Yeah, just 3 points now. 3 points from outside the player. Tooting Mitchell 1, Hayes and Yedding 3, and on they go.
They do. Hayes, Tooting, my old player made his debut after 3 months being out injured from us on Saturday. He come on, Leon, so I wish him all the best. He'd be a heck of a player for them. But listen, I don't know. It's only 5 points. They've got 2 games in hand. But, everyone fancied them at the beginning of the season, and it looks like I can't see anyone getting near them.
No, I can't know. Uxbridge 0, Hertford Town 2, and they've gone on a little couple of wins as well.
Yeah, I think they've just found their feet in that league, innit? It takes time. Again, another team that come up the year before, new in the north, then got moved. I know what that's about. Keep getting moved into different leagues, and it's difficult. You've got to get different players in, and they're just starting to find a little bit of feet now. So maybe they'll have a good decent second half of the season.
Waltham Abbey 0, Northwood 1.
a surprise to me. Obviously, I'm really pleased as well. Michael Spencer's gone in over at Waltham Abbey, ex-player of mine. Nicely put a little tweet as well about some of the managers he played for, and he included me. He must have been drunk when he played for me, if you can remember that then. But no, you know, he's great. He's got a lot of knowledge. He knows his football, and but I think I know he's disappointed with that because they, you know, them points would have. I think they would have been in the playoffs, wouldn't they?
Yeah, and I think the difficulty for them as well. I mean, you know, they've had sort of 5 or 6 of their players taken out, gone to AFC Hornchurch. Yep. So it's going to be difficult for them. They've got to get time to get players in, haven't they? Do you know what I mean? To replace the players that they've physically lost. And you know, I spoke to their chairman very, very briefly. We were both in the same shop a week or so ago, and he was saying the same. He said, "Look, you know, we lost 5 players, and we just need to keep it moving, really." So hopefully that's exactly what they do.
Scooby-Doo. Huh? We froze over there.
We may well have done, actually. I'm not too sure. Are we still live on there?
No, it's froze here as well.
Let's have a look, see what we're doing.
No, it's froze up. Excuse me. Strange why that. We're back.
Okay, so the folks come back for presentation number 5.
Oh, we're back, and apologies for that. Again, the Wi-Fi here isn't the greatest, so I do apologise. So it's dropped out, so we've just gone over to mobile Wi-Fi, so hopefully you can see us a lot better, and we're back with you. But we were just discussing the Waltham situation. We'll go into their leagues. So the South Central League, Hayes and Yeading, then their top, they played 19 with 47. Bracknell played 21 with 42. Cheshunt 21 with 40. Marlow 21 with 39. Westfield 21 with 36. Waltham Abbey 21 with 34. And then Ware and Ashford on 33. At the bottom, Egham and South Park both on 9. Molesley on 11. And then FC Romania on 20.
Yeah, the bottom of that table, if you look, Dave, I don't know, 9, 9, 11, they're in another league that close, you see, I know. I mean, on points, they've got so fewer points. It's strange, isn't it?
Yeah.
It really is strange.
Just really weird that they're just sitting there and struggling, you know, as you say, on multiple points. But going into the South East, it's Ashford United 2, Whitstable Town 0.
Good result that for Tommy again. Strong at the moment. Ashford, they're looking, you know, a little bit similar to a Man United at the moment. That's on a bit of a run, and I think they're going to. Obviously, they got themselves in the playoffs now, but I think they're going to push on a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. East Grinstead Town 0, Cray Wanderers 2. Again, looked like it was going to be a 0-0, two goals.
Yeah, listen, the Stoke's a good side, isn't it? And you know, they're 10 points clear, I know, which is massive. We've got them Saturday, but last week they got a last-minute goal. I think a couple of weeks before they've done it, and obviously they've scored twice, but they've got a great squad over there. We're looking forward to go there Saturday, to be fair. I think, you know, the pitch will suit us. I think we're going to have a little go, really, if I'm honest. But, you know, they're favourites. I think they were a lot of people's favourites before the beginning of the season. And Tony's done a great job, and, you know, they've got a few players over there that I know really well. Mostly got the complete squad, if I'm honest with you, Dave. Maybe out of all the divisions in in at this level, like the north, south east, and south central, and going along with them getting their new ground as well. Could be a tremendous year for them. But hopefully, we can get something Saturday and they can kick on after that.
It could be that type of thing where they go straight into the Prem next year and go straight up again because you've got the players in there. Did you think to be able to?
Yeah, that's always difficult though, Dave. I think I think even you speak to Tony, I don't think they're going to look too far ahead. They still got 18 games left to play, so they're in a great position. I just think they're going to want to get over the line first, and then they'll concentrate on that for next year. But they'll definitely soon have the facilities, and then the club will be able to go forward, which would be great. Everyone wants to see a success of clubs. You hear all the rubbish, about they're going down the pan, Thamesmead and Greenwich Borough seem to be struggling at the moment. But when you come here and look at this lovely place, and then you're hearing about Cray, that's what you want. You want to hear stories like that,
absolutely, mate. Yeah, absolutely. Horsham, so I missed one. Greenwich Borough 2, Herne Bay 7.
Yeah. Do you know what? That was the result, Dave, I was looking out for straight away because we played Greenwich Borough before Christmas, and obviously Huss was then the manager who's now gone to Dover as a physio, and they had a very good side, and I was worried, but we played so well. And then when I heard he was going, then I heard that rumours about the club were going to fold, and I thought, oh no, I'm not getting not another club. Everyone loses points, and this was their first game since, and I was like, oh god, since it all kicked in, and they were 2-2 at one point, and obviously Herne Bay, Jake's up front's decent, but to hit by 7, you're just really hoping that they're going to bounce back and just get themselves through it. I think if you look at the league now, they're still just above the relegation zone, but they just need a couple of wins. They've got some really good players there. Yeah. They really have, but I just hope the club at least just wants to keep it survive, even if they did go down. Greenwich Borough's got a good history, and I just fear for it.
Horsham 1, Whiteleaf 0.
Yeah, big game. I fancied Horsham, if I'm honest. They've leapfrogged Whiteleaf as well. Tight game by all accounts. I think it was a late goal. But obviously both teams play on AstroTurf. They were used to the surface. Horsham are a very good side at home, to be fair, and I know that firsthand. But there's a lot of teams playing each other around this over Christmas and now as well, and next week. No one's getting away from each other apart from Cray at the moment. Yeah.
Of course, if you want to call us, don't forget, you want to tell us about how your team got on at the weekend, why not give us a bell? It's 07912 435 005 and give us a shout, and we'll have a chat with you as well.
It'd be nice if 3 British fans rang in.
Hybetown 0, Haywards Heath 0, 189 there.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be a draw that day, but I didn't think it would be a scoreless draw. Charlie would be happy with that because Zach didn't score, but again, when you're jockeying for places in the playoffs and people around you, that's the one that you don't want to lose any ground, and they both took point, so it makes it very tight amongst that now.
We just had Paul Kirkwood, Spy Rights on the up with the new gaffer. So
fair play,
Phoenix Sports 3, Hastings United 3.
Yeah, great game. I was over in Phoenix obviously yesterday, being 2-0 up. Obviously they were disappointed last time that they didn't win the game. They had a couple of chances as well, I think, to actually go 3-0 up. I think Charlie and goals made a couple of great saves, I think, to keep them in it. Then obviously Hastings get 3, and with a few minutes to get 3-2 down, they were happy to get a point. And obviously Alex Taylor comes off the bench, scores the pen. But then more all counts, I think Hastings could have nicked it in stoppage time. But before the game, I was there on Saturday, and Paul Bryan, the manager, would have took a point. I knew he would. He said that because Hastings are decent, and I think he actually said when they went to Hastings they didn't compete and they got pulled to pieces. But Phoenix are a difficult side to beat on their ground. We beat them over Christmas, and it's very hard. The pitch is a bit now, it suits them, and they seem to get some really good results against teams around them. And I had a sneaky feeling that they might do something, and I'm pleased they have. They bounced back. I know they haven't won for a few, but they haven't. They've only lost one in I think about 6 or 7 as well. But They go to Whiteleaf, or they got Whiteleaf at home on Saturday, so that won't be easy for Whiteleaf either. So keeps them going.
Well, Clinton Stevenson said Canby have lost the spine of their team and are having to rebuild.
Yeah, we've all been there, but let's hope they do, mate. Because like I said, big power, and I just think that they'll be disappointed with their season, as we said before.
Yeah, absolutely. Ramsgate 2, Guernsey 2, 220 there, but good point that for Guernsey on the
was,
travels.
yeah, and I spoke to Nick in the week. He seems to be very busy since he's gone in at Ramsgate. I know we spoke to him on the phone, trying to bring players in. I know he put Kane Rowland in from on loan from Folkestone, who announced he was signing for Sittingbourne before they sacked their manager, or mutually agreed, or whatever you want to call it. But he's took him, and he's got a couple of players in, and I think he might have fancied that. But I spoke to him about Guernsey, and I said, look, they're a decent side, so. Rory Smith got another 2 for him. He's a decent player. He's got enough going forward, and but I think Guernsey will be over the moon to come away and get a point from there. It's a long journey for them as well.
Seven Oaks 4, Faversham Town 1. Faversham now conceding more goals than any other team in all 4 divisions.
Faversham, unfortunately, I watched them over Christmas. New managers have come in. They've just brought Liam King in from Tunbridge back to Faversham. I know he scored as well. Lovely lad. Seven Oaks have had a great start, great season. And so we had Nicky in here. He's going to be over the moon with what they've achieved this year. Difficult team to play at home, and Faversham knew that. But a club of Faversham's stature should never be where they are, unfortunately. And the rumours I'm hearing, they need something. They really do need some points. It's only maybe with Greenwich maybe demise that could save them.
Yeah.
Hope not. Some lovely people over there.
Three Bridges 1, VCD 2, 71 people there to see that.
Yeah, what game they're involved in, David. No, listen, we were superb. First half especially, the scoreline flatters it, I think. I think if you look at the highlights, it shows that. I think we could have come in 3-0 up at half time. We ended up coming in 1-0 down with our only shot on goal, which for us was very poor to concede. I've looked over it, I wasn't happy with it either. But we showed great character. I spoke to Tony before about them the week before, and we expected a bit of a physical game. The pitch did cut up quite a bit, it wasn't the best, and it was quite physical. And the only surprise was, Anton, the ref, I spoke to him at the end of the game, is that we ended up with 10 men for 2 bookings, and I thought they could have ended up with 9 or 8. But our youngsters withstood a little bit of pressure. I think that's the diplomatic word to put, and we really come out with a lot of credit, and we got a good goal back, 1-1, and I was quite confident. And then we got sending off with 15 minutes to go, and I had a choice: do we stay and take a point? But with the playoffs, we've got aspirations. I thought we've got some tough games coming up with Cray and Hive and Sittingbourne. I channeled that I wanted 9 points out of them 4 games, and I wouldn't make the change. I stayed with attacking side, and the man who's Charlie McDonald just popped up after with 10 men and hit a weldy left foot finish after missing a couple of chances where their keeper got man of the match. He made some outstanding saves. And we held on, and we were brave, and I was over the moon. Massive 3 points for us, and a really good performance. Our first half performance was very similar to when we gave Bay a good hiding, and they know about that. And we played like that first half.
It's funny, we was talking about earlier on, we said about our Hornchurch of, drawn a lot of games, and if they'd have got all 3 points in those games, they'd be sitting second in the table. But then you look at yours and see that, you're sitting in 8th, 10 wins, 8 defeats, and only 1 draw. So there's the difference, like you just sit there pushing on, trying to get the extra.
I hate draws, Dave. And that was Whiteleaf, and I won't lie, we should have beat them. That was a nil. How we drew that, I never know. I think we're the sort of side that scores goals but can concede, and we're trying to obviously stop that at one end. But unfortunately, you can't. We're young, and it is one of them. And I think I've said before that you wouldn't get us getting many clean sheets. But points, you don't get anywhere with points. You may stay up with a point, but wait, don't get me wrong. We're going to Cray. If we come away from there for a point, most people will go, yeah, listen, good point. But if we drew at Cray and then we went to Sittingbourne and drew, and then you draw at Ive, you get 3 points. If you might as well lose 2 of them and win one, you still got the same points. So I think, especially with not being so many games and whatever, and the points per average coming in with Dave as well at the end of the year, our attitude at the moment is that we've got to try and get some. We need, if we're drawn, we've got to try and push for a win. If you're up against it and you're getting pummeled, then take your point. But no, it was a bit of a brave call we made, but it worked, and I don't think I'm the only manager thinking about that at the moment.
Right at the table then, Craig Wanderers have played 20 with 51, Hastings 20 with 41, Horsham played 20 with 38, Ashford have played 20 with 36, Whiteleaf 20 with 35, and then just outside, Haywards Heath with 33, Hive with 31, VCD 1 game less on 31, Sevenoaks on 27. At the bottom, it's Faversham, they sit in the bottom place with 16, Greenwich Borough with 16, Herne Bay with 17, Sittingbourne with 2 games in hand, also on 17.
Yeah, no, it's very very tight at either end, Dave. And like I said, that 3 point with a game in hand, he's Sittingbourne on Tuesday. If we can get a win there and hopefully get something at Craig, sets up a great game against Hive on the following Saturday, and then we could find ourselves back in amongst the playoffs and challenging everyone else. It is so tight there. Sevenoaks will fancy it. Phoenix got a game in hand over Sevenoaks as well, I think. So it's anyone from them. Three Bridges, I think, did fancy it. If you remember, they were sitting at the bottom, and their style of play have got them results, and you can see why. They're very powerful, athletic. But at the bottom, it's very tight there, very tight. And obviously it's going to be a local club.
I think it's quite lucky, I suppose, for some of those down there that what happened to Thamesmead, because otherwise, if it was 2 going down, it would be, there could be still a lot of people even a bit further up being a bit.
Yeah, I know Thamesmead were in it anyway, but if Tommy would have still been there, which I don't know, they would have got out of that. So yeah, you're right. You must be 100% right there.
We're looking in the FA Trophy because we had one team in the FA Trophy still left, and we still have one team left in the FA Trophy. Carshalton Athletic 4, Salisbury 1, and Carshalton got drawn from right at home to Barnet.
Yeah, they did. Great draw. Great draw for them. But listen, to beat Salisbury was massive, and Peter's done a great job there. There'll be a great crowd. I wouldn't be surprised they get a result against Barnet.
I was just about to say the same to you.
Wouldn't surprise me at all. They've got enough pace and power to get something there. Really have.
I must admit, I do fancy myself against Barnet. I don't know why, but there we go. Ryan Worley said, great character by the Millers to come back and win on Saturday. Different test away to Durham on Saturday, but once again, the Sons of Aveley will travel to fully back James and the lads. Long trip though.
Yeah, well, if you win, it's a good trip.
Yeah.
That's what you want. You want a nice long trip if you're winning.
So I mean, with the tables as they are, I mean, would you say then that maybe your division and the South Central Division automatic places sewn up, or
I've got to say that for mine. Listen, you've got after 10 points. Everyone's got. Anyone can have a wobble.
Yeah.
Silly as it seems, Dave. Right? All hypothetical, but every manager's hypothetical. We go and beat Cray on Saturday, okay, and then we win our game in hand. You're sitting there thinking, could it start a wobble? With the players they've got and the experience they've got, I doubt it. But all you've got to do is just worry about yourself, get as many points as you can, and then hope for the best. With Cray, with Hayes and Yedding, we can maybe just talk about them too, and Haringey Borough, if I'm honest. It's in their hands, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. It's
completely in their hands, and St Major's got around them. And 3 big clubs with 3 decent managers, I don't think will.
Yeah. We did forget somebody, actually, because Wingate Finchley lost 4-2 to Hemel Hempstead. But I think they were 4-0 down as well, so they came back to 4-2, and it looks as if there could have been a bit of a feisty comeback.
Well, and they need to start picking some points up, Dave. Because for the first time for a while, they're finding themselves in a bit of a
dogfight down the
bottom. Yeah, they are.
And I think that was the conversation we had the other day. I think last week, people said, "Well, look, my it's going to be interesting to see if we take the 3, say, that are there at the moment: Wingate, Finchley, Harlow, Whitehawk. At the end of the season, where do they go? Do they go in the North Division, Jigsaw League, or do they go into your division? Do you know what I mean?
Well,
so straight away you've got to look at it.
Straight away you would go Wingate will go in the Jigsaw League, because if you've got to look at, or they might get moved across. If you think of Harrow, Hendon. I know it's tight. Harlow would come down into, well, could be the Jigsaw
That's
League.
what I was thinking, because Waltham Abbey, Cheshunt, Ware, they're all in there,
They
aren't
would go in the Jigsaw League.
Yeah.
Depending who's come up. Whitehawk would, they should, right, go in the Southern League.
Right.
But because of the Bognor Regis thing coming up, I know Lewis are in the Prem, but I think they'll end up in the maybe in the South Central. They might even end up with us because they would see for there, aren't they? So, but really they should end up in the other league.
Anthony Mercer said, how do you see the Bostik North panning out? Bowers going well, but Haybridge and Averley in fine form. And he's very crafty, Anthony, because I've got a sneaky suspicion that he's missed one team out there. And I don't know why, but I've just got a sneaky suspicion the way things are going. One of those four that are in there now won't be there coming into the season, and Tilbury will be in there.
Well, they started well bad, and the firepower that Tilbury have got, maybe. But as we said, Dave, the top three I think will be there. Okay, Malden and Coggleton. You've got Grays, Malden, Coggleton, Sudbury, and Tilbury. There's some big clubs there, and can Tilbury get in there? Well, they are. They're on a great run. They've played one or two more than most.
If you're picking a five, though, where would you pick your five? Champions?
Champions, Bowers.
Yeah. And your four?
Haybridge.
Yeah.
You. I'm going to stick. I'm going to go Malden, and with games, I'm going to stick with the five that are there because there's a 7-point gap, and Tilbury played one or two games more. That's 10 points. That's a lot.
I've just got a sneaky suspicion they'll sneak in there at Covishaw's expense. So I might be wrong.
Well, good luck for Tilbury. I hope they do for them. See, like you said, Anthony's a love fan, and with the firepower they got, oh my God.
So what about at the other end? Who do you see going?
Deon, Mildenhall.
New manager in there as well.
Come on, Romford.
Yeah.
We've got a little soft spot for Romford.
So not
used to it as well.
Not Surrey, not Whittam, not Great Wakering.
Great Wakering, I think they would have too much. No, I do think it would. I think it would be them too. I know it's halfway through the season. We've seen Surrey. I think we have enough as well.
But the one that surprises me, that's sort of in that sort of regions, but that's around there, and heard about them, saw them this weekend, is Felixstowe. And I thought Felixstowe were a really good outfit, and I don't see that. I just can't believe that they're actually sitting there in 14th.
Well, going into what you said about Tilbury going into the playoffs, I spoke about this earlier. I could see Basildon getting pulled into this if they don't start picking some results up. I really can. So if you go for points in the last 10 to 12 games, I bet they're nearly bottom of the form table.
Yeah, it would surprise me. Yeah, they are struggling massively, aren't they? I'd say they dropped like a stone. I mean, but then same sort of thing as Romford as well. Both of them are sort of fell away. But Romford, as you say, Romford are used to being there and know exactly how to get out of it when they do. I mean, Prem Division, do you see Haringey or do you see somebody taking it off of them? Well,
Lewis are decent, but Dorking have got the games in hand, but Haringey's had such a good run. Be interesting how they bounce back now. They've got to bounce back after that defeat. Might be what they needed.
What about Tonbridge? Do you see Tonbridge fighting their way back up there?
Yes, I'll Steve in a little while. They've got the firepower, but again, look at the teams just above them, Dave. Worthing, who got games in hand, who I fancied. Enfield, Folkestone, who's hit a great run of form again. I wouldn't put that past Cole because they're going to get in the playoffs, I think, Folkestone. So who's going to drop out? Is it Bognor, who are massive? Dorking seemed fine. Kingstonian, possibly. Let's see. Massive.
You look at it. You could be in 9th one week, second the next, or you could be second one week and 9th the next. It's there's a massive
a lot of pressure.
Drop.
A lot of pressure, mate. You've got to keep winning.
So the 4 South Central. Who do you see in the 4 in the South Central?
What?
If Hayes are going to win it, who's going to be the 4?
Bracknell.
Yeah.
Cheshunt.
Yeah.
I hope Waltham Abbey might, but I've got this sneaky feeling that Ware might squeeze in there, mate. I really do. The run they're on. the run they're on.
So I'll just put something in overlay. I'm just trying to see what it says. For me, we will find. This is Ryan again from Averley. Says, for me, we will find out more in about 2 to 3 weeks. Averley play Bowers at home and believe that Bowers have Coggeshall this weekend. Huge games. I don't see Bowers losing to Coggeshall. I'll be honest. I don't think that's even on the cards for me. I mean, if that's one of the games that gets picked in for the weekend, it will certainly be a Bowers win for me on that one. They play Averley. I don't know. In a few weeks' time, I really wouldn't like to say. I think it could be close, but I just got a feeling Bowers could win that one as well. As you say, they're in such a good sort of run of form at the minute. Yep. Unless something goes wrong in the next couple of weeks, I think then
they've lost 2 games.
Could happen. Yeah.
You know,
I mean, Averley, if I'm right, I think I'm right saying I haven't lost at home.
Well, they've only lost 3 times.
But Coggeshall just seems to have got, had a bit of a sticky patch, so we'll probably be wrong and probably Coggeshall will win and Averley will win.
It's always twists and turns, which is good. Good talking points.
Yeah. So we were talking earlier on before we came on air and stuff about the lack of games and etc. I mean, it's quite funny how it's sort of span round, isn't it? That you've got people saying, "Oh, look, we've got too many games. We're playing too many games. It's just ridiculous. We can't do nothing." And now, all of a sudden, this year, it's completely spun on its head.
Yeah, for the 3 divisions. Yeah, like I said, I get managers ringing me up every week. Want a game? Do you want a game? Do you want a game? Averley has offered us Bowers. Barking, all from the north, loads of sides. Obviously, we've got City Hall this week, coming up Saturday, so Tuesday. So I've sort of declined, and we've meant to play Gillingham last week, who had to pull out for injuries, believe it or not. But you do need games because there's players on provisional that you want to give minutes to. You want to try things, and it is getting a bit of an issue. I know people say about injuries and whatever, but I do think that it's something that I don't know if it can be looked at, it can't be looked at yet, but that we might need to think about. And I know we spoke before about the league thinking about making the League Cup
after Christmas.
You will not start maybe a group stage, so you get a few more games. Well, yeah, I'll say that's fine. That's fine. Tell you what, one other thing I wanted to speak about, and again, I'm not saying we're playing them. What do you think about teams that play on a different day? Say, like, I know if you play on a Friday, it may be different because but on a Sunday, that you get suspensions, you get a sending off. The rule is, if you get sent off, you miss a game 7 days later. But if you play your games on Sundays, you nearly get 2 weeks before your player is suspended, unless you have a midweek game. So there's a bit of an unfair advantage there because. Like say for us now, I need to get a player in for Saturday, so I've got 6-7 days. You pick, say you've got plenty of time, but you're rushing. If you've got a 7 day for someone, tough. That game. But if you say for instance you play on Sunday and you play, like we played Three Bridges Saturday. They had a player sent off against Cray the Sunday before. They both could play against us. Now, so basically they nearly got 2 weeks. To find a player or a replacement. So
if you're playing on Saturday away,
and
your player gets sent off,
he misses the following Saturday.
He misses the following Saturday, but if you're not playing your game until Sunday, you can play.
No, because obviously he'll be suspended on the Sunday.
Right, okay.
But if you play on the Sunday and your player gets suspended, and your next game is away on a Saturday, he can play on the Saturday. But he can't play the next game. So nearly, because there's no big week games, you get 2 weeks.
Okay. Yeah.
It just don't seem right.
Yeah.
And it's an unfair advantage. And I just sit there thinking, I think if you get sent off, you should miss the next game, no matter when it is. Because I know it's not the league's fault, whatever. It does just seem a slightly unfair advantage if you play on them days.
What's your thoughts? 07912 435 005. Give us a call. 07912 435 005 and to let us know what you think. But I saw as well over Christmas time. I might have been on the radio, and it was I'm sure it was Mark Howsey was there. He's been on the show before. They were talking about referees, etc., and one of them came up with the same idea as you did. about training. And I thought, if I wasn't driving, I probably would have phoned in and said, hang on a minute, we said that first. But it'd be interesting. I don't know if Mike Halsey heard you say that, and that's why he's put it forward. But it was very.
It's funny, right? Because obviously I made that comment, and over Christmas, and I've said this before, but there are some referees that, because of what I say on here, do take that and penalise us for it as well, which I think, well, if you listen to the whole thing, our referee on Saturday, don't think Three Bridges was too happy with him. He made some strange decisions and he seemed to lose the plot a little bit, but he was okay. The referee at Ashford, we had two goals that I thought were offside. It wasn't the referee's fault. But like I said, they just need some help, and I think that's been proven all over the place. That training, I said about the academy, I don't think there's a better idea than that.
And that's what they were saying. They were saying some referees should be going out to the academy games and refereeing the academy games, sorting out the like you said, in training where you're doing team against attack against defence, they should be refereeing them. And all this was coming out at the same time, and I'm thinking, no, it's exactly what we'd said.
I also think having a referees academy where they're being paid, and it's a career opportunity, and then you've got over 2 years, you've got 400 referees coming in with the idea I come up with, and it's only going to make our game better. Like I said, and it helps them, which is a really good thing. And like I said, the game's a video, they take the video away, they can watch it in with their tutors. It's only going to make it better. Listen, everyone moans about this, everyone moans about this and so on, but it will just help. I think it'll help the whole game.
I saw something posted earlier on. It was on the Bognor Regis Observer, but it was interesting to read. It was done by a gentleman called Ollie Berry. He says, winning the playoffs will not guarantee promotion this season, with two of the triumphant Boston League sides facing the heartbreak of not being promoted. A restructured non-league pyramid last summer will have a knock-on effect in 2018-19, promotion and relegation outcomes due to extra division. There will be changes to the normal process as both Step 3 and Step 4 as a result of basically having too many teams to fill the available promotion places. The main issue at Step 4 is the addition of the new Bostic League South East Division. When combined with the Eco Leagues, both Northern and Southern League, it takes the total two divisions now Step 7 at Step 4. With league winners and playoffs winners, that's a total of 14 teams that could normally go up. However, there will be 12 promotion spots to fill. The champions of each division will take the first 7 spots, while 5 of the 7 playoff winners will be vying for the rest. How that will look is that they will go to the 5 teams with the best points ratio. As a result, 2 sides who win the playoffs will be left in the unusual position of not going up. Logic would suggest that teams finishing in 5th place who go on to win the playoffs should be less likely to go up when compared to playoff winners that finish second, although that of course would also depend on the quality of the division. Relegation wise, 2 teams from each division at Step 4 will go down to Step 5. As Step 3 locally, the Bostic League Premier Division, they will be holding playoffs of the playoffs to determine their promotion teams. There will be 6 spots available for teams to go up into Step 2. National League South and National League North, but again with 4 teams at Step 3 it leaves another headache due to the new feeder league. The champions of all 4 divisions will go up, but there will only be another additional 2 places for the 4 playoff winners. The 4 teams will this year face 2 separate super playoff matches, which reportedly will be decided by the FA League's committee in the most suitable geographic basis. The matches will be over 1 leg and hosted by the side with the best points per game ratio during the season. The 2 winners will be promoted to Step 2. Did you understand any of that?
Yep. All they need to do, Dave, is that the 2 teams from Step 3 with the worst record get relegated. And all the playoff teams, they can't. This is what makes you laugh with the FA and why they're all idiots, is because they just keep saying last year, and Nick was on here going, no, they're only promoting, they're only giving people, place. There's no reprieves. It's only for promotion. People can come up. Teams got up that didn't even, it might seem like didn't even win there. Through the back door. No one's getting relegated. Well, now you can win something and not get promoted. So where you've got consistency, I just think that whoever's running me, they're buffoons. They're absolute, and that's being polite. Yeah. How is it that, just say for instance that our club finished 5th and we win the playoffs and don't go up, your chairman would just go, what is going on here? You know, you might as well just go, sod it and jack it in. I think there would be repercussions because of what happened last year. I know they said they've set that in store and they'll come out and put it. It's just a complete cock-up.
But they could even get to the worst two placed sort of the worst placed ones that step three, play those ones that can't go up, shall we say, through the playoffs and play them in 2 games, and then the winners of those 2 take the places. It's got to be the obvious thing to do, surely.
You know, if you're sitting in 5th place and you know that you've got one of the worst points, so you know that if you won, you ain't going up anyway. Well, why would you even enter the playoffs?
Yeah.
The only way you enter it, what happens if you win it and then someone folds? Do you go up?
Yeah.
Or do they do what they've done last time and make a cut and then put someone like Crimson Casuals who lost the playoff and go up? It's just
an absolute shame.
How can you enter a competition like that?
But does that not show?
Why didn't they just scrap playoffs this year, or scrap the playoffs, and just have the best 2 teams go up? But then it's on points, but whatever. You know that from day one.
It's an absolute shambles. It just shows you, I suppose, what the FA got no time for non-league football whatsoever at our level. You know, because they're just not interested.
They're too interested, mate, in giving money to women football than they are non-league. Because, like I said, and it is a big bugbear of mine, you know, the amount of money that they gave, I don't know, because listen, Charlton play at our place, who are a professional football club, they get from the FA or the Women's about £100,000 a year, so they can employ a general manager, a commercial manager, whereas clubs like us have to find £20,000-30,000. So your ground grading's good to stay in your league. Why aren't they giving that to our club? Why? You know, how do Averley get their women's football into the top league from scratch? They ain't getting none of this funding. So why should a pro side automatically get rubbish?
You know, and connected to a club that is a professional football club as well.
That's exactly right. Listen, the FA ain't got a club. That is why it's FA, because they know FA.
Yeah. Fair enough. But I mean, you talking about that? I mean, I know it's not what we normally talk about at all. But I mean, I was watching a clip of it this morning. I mean, you just said about women's football there. I don't know if you saw the retaliation, and that's the same sort of thing for me. You look at that at the weekend, the Arsenal versus Chelsea game.
Yeah.
You know, Karen Carney was tripped up.
Yeah.
She turned around, she shoved them into the middle of next week. If that would have been something in our game on a Saturday, or been on a league game on a Saturday, men's game, it would have been a red card straight away.
Yeah.
There wouldn't even be a thought in the process of it. You know,
no, that's right. Listen, we had Man United at our ground on Sunday because they were playing Charlton, and unfortunately the game got abandoned.
Got hurt,
got hurt. And, you know, the chairman was sending a picture of an ambulance on the pitch, and I'm going, get it off. But listen, I'm pleased that the girl's okay. I think she's got badly bruised ribs and sternum, but I think it was really worried at one point. But you know, we had 725 people through the gate. So, but they don't do anything. You know, it's weird, but it's just. I just think that there's money being put into them to professional clubs, but not helping us. Not helping us out. Now, why should, if Averley have got a girls' football team, why shouldn't you get £100,000 a year from the FA to help you out? What could your club do with that? Yeah. What could our club do with that? It's nonsense.
And you don't
Imbeciles.
And you don't see none of it.
Don't see a penny. Don't see a penny. Someone's just come on as well, I think. Who is it? Clinton's just gone. I like the idea of 2 playoff winners not automatically getting promoted. Playing off against 2 teams lower, teams from the leagues above. Yeah, and that's exactly right. You know, they should, but really they shouldn't have to do that. The 2 places above should be naturally relegated.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. We're going to try and see if we can get hold of Pia. Hopefully the speaker's working. So we'll see if we can get hold of Peter and have a chat with Peter. We'll have a chat with Peter about teams that might be coming up to join us next year, teams that you might be expecting to see come down the other way. Hello Peter, it's David from the Isthmian show.
Hello, how you doing?
Not too bad, sir. Yourself?
I'm good. I'm alright. Yep, not too bad.
Good. I suppose one of the first things to ask, you know, with the Essex Senior League itself, and you know, talking to you a little bit about a little bit about that. I mean, Are we surprised at any of the teams that might be sort of sitting at the top of the division or at the bottom of the division this year, or is it a surprise to you?
I mean, there's the top. I'd say the top four are probably expected. I mean, you look at stats. I mean, a lot of people look at stats in the whole, which and think those two are down the bottom last year, but they were expected to do well this year. And Stansted obviously leading the table at the moment. Takeley are always fancied to do well this year. Holbridge have done a lot of work to their ground this season, and they've got a decent side and are looking to challenge for promotion as well. Saffron Walden came over from the Thurlow Nunn division last season to this year, and they were again expected to be strong. So the top four aren't such a surprise. Woodford Town in fifth. Now they might. They were expected to do pretty okay, but not probably top 5 or 6. So they're more academy side with some good young players. So and then you got Walthamstow again. They were Waltham Forest last year and were struggling down the bottom. Now they've rebranded as Walthamstow and they've been taken over by Ryan Maxwell this season, and they're doing okay this year, top 6. So I'd say most of the top 5 or 6 aren't really surprising, but teams like Sporting Bengal have done very well this year, and St Margaret's also came across from the Spartan South Midlands from last season, and they've found their feet now.
Surprised at Barkingside though, Peter? What's going on down there?
Barkingside's a big surprise. I expected them to do better than last year. They did struggle a bit last year, but not to the extent they were struggling this season. But they've had a little sort of revival in the last few weeks. And I went to watch them against Leighton Athletic on Saturday, the bottom 2. It was a very, very important game, and there definitely signs of improvement there from earlier in the season. Obviously, Alex Golston's over there from the former Romford assistant. And he's been helped out at the moment, and he's doing a good job there at the moment, and they look like they've got a lot of work to do. I have been listening to your show, by the way, and you were talking about the FA and the promotion and relegation and all this sort of thing, and what a farce that is, especially the playoffs. But we get the problem in the senior league where we're not always sure how many teams are going up or down. So it's ludicrous. I often berate the FA on my show, so I certainly agree.
But you saying that as well. I mean, if your worst case scenario in the Bostik North this year, and it was Dereham and Milden Hall that sort of left us. I mean, where does that leave teams in the Essex Senior League? Because then all of a sudden it's going to be all
exactly because you've got those teams, no doubt, will go into the Thurlow Nunn, but because you can't really have either of those in the Essex Senior League because they're in sort of Milton or Suffolk, isn't it? And Dereham's very, very north, which is pretty much Norwich, isn't it? So I don't know whether teams will go sideways or change divisions, or I don't know, but it's a problem every year. And the further down the pyramid you go, the less sort of stability there is regarding teams and the FA and stuff.
I mean, the two teams that I'm quite surprised at sort of being in the bottom regions, I suppose, or 3 now, I suppose, because of somebody moving there. But Redbridge sort of 5th from bottom. Stanway Rovers under Terry Spillane, they're just above them, and then. I was expecting, bigger things from Enfield as well this year, and they're sort of struggling down the end as well.
Yeah, Enfield surprised me a bit. I thought that because last season they finished the season in fantastic form. They went from bottom 3 to 4 to 9th place. But they picked up a couple of 2 or 3 decent results recently. So I think they have got games in hand as well. So if they do win those games in hand, they will be in the top 10. So. They may still recover from where they are. Stanway, Stanway under Spillane, yes, they're a bit hit and miss. But Stanway came into the league with pretty much half of Braintree's reserve team because the Braintree reserve manager from last season took over at Stanway. So it was they weren't the same team they were the season before, but they took a while to find their feet. But now obviously Spillane's in charge there. Yeah, they have decent games, and then they're very inconsistent for some reason. Redbridge are another team that last season they nailed on for promotion, but then they fell away at the end, and it took them a very long time to get over that. And they lost quite a lot of key personnel in the close season as well, so they weren't the same side, and their home form this season has been appalling. So, but Mickey Wetherall, the former Man Baker manager, has just gone in there and has taken quite a few of his players across, and yes, they've signed Jay Knight as well, who was at Sporting Bengal not long ago, and he's putting together a decent squad. Then I don't think Redbridge will be down there for that much longer. They won at Holbridge at the weekend, which was on paper looked like a surprise, but you know, Redbridge has got their team is not the same team that was struggling early in the season. So, because as always at this level, you do get a lot of change. There's a lot of chopping and changing, and so I don't expect Redbridge to be down as much longer. But
what's the situation over at Clapton this year as well? Because obviously last year, they were pushing and they had their massive support, and I know obviously they had things off going behind the scene. But what's actually going on there this season?
Clapton, well, the Ultras, as they were known, broke away and formed their own community club called Clapton CFC. I don't know if you've seen anything about it, but they play on the back pitch at Wadham Lodge or Kitchener Road. Mm-hmm. Well, they do hope to play at the Spotted Dog one day, but I don't. It's all politics. So, to be honest, I try not to get too much involved in it. But right now, when they all go and watch this community club, they get till 300 men in the Middlesex County Division 1, which is like Step 8 or something. So they're playing it out at the moment. That's what they're doing right now. I don't know what their thoughts are about the actual Clapton, but I mean, Clapton themselves, they are struggling a bit this year. They're very inconsistent, but then it's not really a surprise. I mean, you know, they have players come and go, and you know, Johnny Fowler has done a remarkable job there, considering what's been going on there for the last 2 or 3 years. So I don't know. Watch this space. I don't know if what the Ultras are planning next, but
so who do you think is going to go up then, Pete?
Well, at the start of the season, I said Takeley would win it, and then I was getting worried sort of a few weeks ago because they fell away badly, but they've come right back into the title hunt now with an amazing run. I personally still think Takeley will probably win the league, but it's going to be a very close run thing with the others up there. I mean, Saffron Walden have got points to make up, but they played. It's going to be a lot of chop and change. I mean, I think it's going to be anyone from that top 4 probably going to win it. If I had to pick one, I'd say Takeley, but the top team automatically go up. Obviously, ground grading and everything has to come into this as well. But
and are they all okay? Are they all okay for that? Are they, or do you know?
I think Takeley, are okay. They've built a clubhouse now. I think that was the one thing they were missing. So
I mean, Saffron Walden's got quite a nice ground, if I remember.
Saffron Walden will be fine. Holbridge will be fine. They've got the improvements. Stansted, I'm not so sure about because they share their ground with the cricket club.
I was waiting for you to say the airport from it.
Yeah, with the airport, yeah. Yeah, they've got flights coming in there. No, well, they are flying. I mean, that's the old running joke, isn't it? But I'm not sure Stansted's ground would make the grade at the moment because they're sharing a cricket club, so every August they can't play at home because the cricket club have it. So, which is why they're normally there. If they get drawn in home in the cup, they normally have to play at Bishop Stortford or something like that. But So I think out of those 4, Stansted are probably the ones with the most issues with ground grading, but I think the other 3 are fine. So, and as far as I know, top goes up automatically, and then second place I think is points per game or something. But then it all depends again on what happens in other Step 5 divisions, and if any teams go in Step 4, or it's always up in the air with Step 5, unfortunately. Yeah. But if I was to pick anyone from the top 4, it would probably be Takeley. And probably upsetting a few people I know the other clubs now. But anyway,
so who's on your
it's going to be close.
Who's on your show?
I've got Mark Farrell on the show this week. He was manager at Wadham Lodge last season for a time, doing our Leighton Athletic. And he's been doing various he was coaching at Redbridge most of last season and this. Recently left Redbridge when Ricky Eaton stepped down. And he's now helping out at Barkingside. Right. With Alex Golston. So we've got him on the show, so it'll be good to catch up with him and see what he's doing.
Will Barkingside get out of it?
I'd like to. I mean, it depends how many teams go down. When we think it could be up to 3 teams. It might be 1. It might be 2. But they are currently, if it is the bottom 3, they're
in trouble.
10 points for safety. But they could easily, if they win 2 or 3 games, they could suddenly be up there. They are much better. They're playing better than they were earlier in the season. But you'd hope they haven't left too much to do. But as we had Jimmy on the show not long ago, the Barkingside chairman, and we were just saying, it's like you just got to treat it as a 17-game season now, and just try and pick up as many points as you can. But it's going to be tough.
Are you missing my number 2, Danny Lee, not on your show?
I mean, Danny Lee's a legend, isn't he?
Well, that's not. I'm only joking.
I mean, I'm joking. No, he's alright. He comes on now and again.
Have you noticed that since I've not let him come on now, that we're actually picking some results up?
I was going to say, I was starting to think maybe it was our fault.
It was. You said that.
we were distracting him from the job in hand.
Yeah. No, he's a good lad.
It's good to see you doing well, though.
We are. We're doing very well. Thank you.
Yeah. Because what is that? What league is it? South? I can never remember. Since they changed it, I get confused with what league and stuff.
Yeah, we're in the South East.
Yeah. No, it's good. Because you were in the North, weren't you?
North, and then we got moved to the South, and then
the South, and then crazy.
He's only got the Jigsaw League. He's got the full set.
Well, I'm quite going to go.
I know exactly. Well, we go.
I mean, the French League 2.
Well, you never know. I mean, the way the FA are going.
Well, I think I'd rather the French FA than that.
Crazy, but
they might even play rugby next year.
Well, let's not put. You wouldn't put it past him.
I wonder if I get off an FA hearing if I got brought up there.
I mean, sorry, we will add our opinion. But it's going to be an interesting last few months of the season, there are many teams. I mean, all the top 4. Anyone from that top 4 can win it. I think below that, I think it's probably going to be. They've got too much to do below those, but so it's going to be exciting for us people watching it.
Just with the Essex team in the Bostik leagues, which ones are standing out for yourself, Pete?
Well, I mean, if I look at ex-senior league teams, for example, Haringey have done an unbelievable job. They only won the senior league 3 or 4 years ago, I believe. Yeah. And I watched them play Wimbledon, the FA Cup, and they gave Wimbledon a really good match. And I thought to myself, if they can take that into the league form, then they'll be. And since that game, I think Harlow game is their first one they lost, didn't they?
In 10, yeah.
That was an amazing result, by the way, the Harlow one. But yeah, Bowers, of course, the top of the North Division. They've been doing quite well. the last few years.
We were speaking earlier about Basildon. Have you got any worries about them?
Basildon, slightly concerned because they haven't. They picked up most of those points at the start of the season.
Yeah.
I don't know what the stats are, but I can't imagine over the last few games they picked up that many at all.
No, we've just seen
and it shows how well Mark Harrison was doing.
Mm.
You look where he's gone in at Tilbury. Now look where Tilbury are.
Yeah, no.
He's a fantastic manager. And I would like to think Basildon have got enough about them because the teams down there in Durham are really struggling, aren't they? And,
yeah.
Well, in a minute, Pete, you're just saying what you're just saying in this form table. The form table, Heybridge, 16 points. It's all out the last 6 games. 16 for Heybridge, 15 for Bowers, 13 Tilbury. Whittam up there with 13 as well. Sudbury 12.
Whittam have had a good surge, haven't they?
Yeah. Morden, so Sudbury 12, Morden 11, Averley 11, Canby 10, Barking 10, Brentwood 8, Bury 8, Coggeshall 8, Soham 6, Grays 5, Felixstowe 5, Mildenhall 5, Great Wakering 4, Romford 4, Dereham 1, and Basil and Rockbottom with 1 point from the last 6.
Yes.
So that just shows you, doesn't it?
I bet you got 1 or 2 from the 6 before that as well.
Exactly. It's worrying for them. It is. I don't really. I get on well with Lee, but there was a lot of. I'm not going to sit here and say what he should and shouldn't do, but Mike Wolford was brought in, and I don't really know why. In fact, it didn't work out or not. I don't know, but and then he brought in Neil Blackburn, who is. Again, I'm a good friend of Neil as well, and I just hope it works out for him because that's a tough job. That's a big level to go up.
Looking at that, what we were just saying. So from the 29th of September, they won 3-0 away to Dereham. Then since then, it was 1-1 against Brentwood, 0-0 against Bury, lost 4-2 against Waltham Abbey, lost 2-1 twice to Averley, lost 4-0 to Bowers. Drew 0-0 with Sudbury, lost 1-0 to Felixstowe, drew 0-0 with Romford, lost 1-0 to Coggeshall, lost 2-1 to Morden, drew 2-2 against Grays, lost 4-1 against Great Wakering, 4-1 against Canby, 5-1 against Barking, and 3-0 against Tilbury.
5 points from September.
So they literally, the last win they had was, looking back, was Heybridge Swifts on the 25th of September.
Exactly. That's alarming, isn't it? For at any level. So, and the last few games, the last few games they've conceded quite a few goals as well. Because up until then they weren't losing by much. It sounded like games could have gone either way, but lately it just seemed a little bit alarming.
4, 5, and 3, and then
exactly.
And the next 3 games will be the games that will really tell you whether or not they are going to be in that bottom sort of 2 area. They've got Brentwood at home this weekend. Then they go away to Mildenhall, who are down there with them, and then they go at home to Dereham. So by sort of 2nd of February, if they don't get much out of that, then they're in all kinds of trouble, I think. Because
they're going to be.
Then after that, it literally does get extremely hard, shall we say. I'll just try to unlock my phone because it just froze on me. And but
technology,
so then I'll literally after those 3, it's Heybridge away, Bury away, Averley at home, Bowers away, Sudbury and Sudbury at home. And then they get Felixstowe, Romford. Then it goes Coggeshall, Grays, Morden. And then they sort of finish off with Barking, Canby, and then they finish off with Whittam at home. So they've got an awful run in, but so they certainly have something.
You hope for their sakes they would. Those next 3 games, they're going to have to pick up some points because at the moment they're 8 points clear of Romford in second bottom.
And we all know what's going to happen there, don't we?
Exactly. Romford won't end up there, that's for sure.
No.
So they started the season well, didn't they?
Yeah,
they dropped
did.
quite down the league quite a bit, haven't they? So,
that'd be interesting.
Basildon does concern me. We've talked about our little group chats and that we've got on WhatsApp about Basildon, and we were all a little bit concerned about what's going to happen to them. I do hope for their sake they don't come back down, because they can't work so hard to get up into that division. I think they haven't been in they've been in the senior league since about 1991, I think. So, it was like 27 years they're out of the Eastern League. So it would be a bit of a shame if they came straight back again. But
yeah, absolutely.
Let's hope they find their feet and get some points again.
Yeah.
So.
Listen, Pete, thank you very much for joining us tonight. Really appreciate that, and hopefully your show goes brilliantly for you again this week as well.
Thanks very much. Keep up the good work, guys.
Thanks,
doing
mate.
Well.
See you later.
All right. See you later.
Bye.
Bye.
And it will be interesting. I was just looking as he was talking. Then some of the teams that are old, shall we say, sort of Isthmian teams. I mean, we were talking a couple of weeks ago against a team that I've got a really soft spot for in Wroxham. Look at their league. All of a sudden, they're 3 points off the top.
Well, look at Walton and Hersham; they're bottom of their league. So, Dave, we've just got to say, because on Facebook, we've got a fella that ain't stopped going mad. Jeff, listen, we will do a shout out for you for Leeds, because you think it's a library, and obviously we've got a massive Leeds United fan. So it's nothing to do with the Bostic League, mate, but they're doing well. Hopefully they'll be actually be in the Premiership. So. Keep watching, and good luck, Leeds. But I'm just looking at a couple of other results, Dave, in the week, some which are interesting with others. But in the Specsavers Surrey Senior Cup round one, it was Napier 1, Kingstonian 1, and that was 7-8 on penalties, right? Then Dave Anderson obviously was here. He won against Sutton, and these team are top of their league. And then we've had Whiteleaf 2, Walton Casuals 2, which would have been a great game and all. And that was 4-2 on penalties. So the two games in that cup both went to penalties. I bet no one see them results coming. Boom, boom. Anyway,
Jake said Clapton have lost every fan. They come to Woodford with no supporters. Seems like a club in trouble. Is what he's put on there. But I mean, who would you like to see? Is any of the teams in that Essex Senior League, or is there teams that are in the Thurlow Nunn, etc., that you'd like to see sort of?
Chertsey, because Dave, I think they're a big club anyway. They've had issues over the years, up and down with money. I said we looked at them. Obviously, Guildford City are in there as well, as you can see.
That's a league for it. The Cherry Red combined CO's Premier Division. So what was it before?
I don't know. Pass. Yeah. It was. I think it was. It not the combined camp. It was the Cherry. It was the Cherry something. I know that. No, obviously, or what we used to call the Kent League, which is the Skiffle League, the South East Counties. That's a great thing at the moment. Fisher Athletic, who obviously were a massive club years ago, are doing wonders over there. And Corinthians as well. The real Corinthians, as they were called them, they don't pay anything. Let's just wind the other ones up. They don't pay any money, and they're local. That they've done ever so well. And there's some big hits there. Chatham and Old Sheppey United, who used to be a big side that have come from nowhere as well, are going for that. So, if you're looking at old, as you said, Isthmian clubs, that they're there as well.
Histon up there as well. You got Woodbridge Town, Stone Market are all there, and Norwich United, of course, they went down last year, and they're struggling. They're sort of mid-table, 29 points, so they're having a tough time of it in that league. I mean, I suppose one of the old ones was something like Enfield. Would be nice to see something like that get into there as well. But
Dean's just come on and said he thinks Craig Valley will win the Skiffle League. I'm not too sure, Dean, because we were talking about this the other day. I know they're spending a lot of money and they've got a decent strike force, but they're not the youngest either. But if you look at the two other sides there, Craig, they have got some games in hand which they've got to win, but the pitch where they play on, I know it's Greenwich Boroughs, isn't the best, and I think that could come and halt them a little bit. But again, I know the manager well, which is Kevin Watson, who was the obviously manager at Chatham. He's managed at this level. I think he's been over at Brentwood as well before. He lives that way. But there's could be some good sides there that could come up.
Some big ones in there. Steve's just texted. He said he'll give us a call in about 10 minutes' time.
I think
he's just got in from work, so we'll leave him with that one. But he'll give us a call in a minute. But so I mean, at the weekend, are you expecting? The weekend just gone. Any sort of real surprise other than that sort of Harlow result? Anything that sort of came out and you looked at when you finished and thought, blimey, I didn't expect to see that one come?
No, not really. Like I said, you look across. There were some obviously tight games you're looking at the 2 league, Tunbridge, Kingstone, and we looked at that. Worthing Lewis, I just thought we knew that was going to be a great game, but you normally sit there and you look at them games and think, it sometimes don't live up to it. But 4-3 away from home's big, and like I said earlier, South Park getting 3 against Bracknell was a little bit of a shock to me as well. Our league, I don't think there was too many surprises, Dave. And I'm honest with you, I said that. Let's just go back over there. Obviously, the only one would have been the result of Herne Bay beating, but that is a little bit of a worry there. But no, apart from that, I think now teams are settled. They're going to, as we just said, maybe Mildenhall beating Whitton, because we just said about Whitton's run of late. Over the last 6 games, they lost there and they've had 13 points out of 18. That ain't bad. So. Maybe that could have been one of them,
but do you see somebody like Bowers and Pitsea? I mean, do you see them as being an incredible season again? I mean, just missing out so horrifically, shall we say, for them last year, and for Rob to actually get them to come back and do what they're doing this year is a massive achievement, I think.
Yeah, it's a testament to what a great job he's done, and I wonder if the pitch being done's helped them as well. Not in aspect of playing surface, it's just something new at the club. And it's like, wow, look what's going on here, and then they can rent it out, and it's another thing that's just sort of took it away from that they're looking, that's put maybe a bit more of an injection of life back into the club to go along with the football as well, which has helped. Training on your pitch, as you know here, Dave, with Aveley, things like that are an advantage. So, I think that's helped them as well. But like I said, they know their job. They're a solid side. He's kept most of his side. He's got a continuity there. He's added a couple as well. And I know that if you can keep that, we're already looking at next year thinking, well, if we can keep the majority we've got here, we're going to have a great chance because they're young and they get to know the club and yourself. And, the pre-season isn't about trying to gel. It's just about let's get minutes under our belt. And they're big pluses. They're big, we said the same with Craig. Craig's... they've had nearly the same sort of side for the last year or two, maybe. With a few little changes, but it's a big thing. And if they go up, or when they go up, and they keep them sort of players, the same thing will happen. Lewis has been the same. He's added some, but there's been some big players. Halliday as well. You don't have to tinker too much when you're going well.
There's one thing we should say as well, before Steve gives us a call as well. Of course. Friend of ours, and of course also does the other show with me, Dean Barker, getting his job this week at Welling Garden City. I mean, he's got his first game tomorrow night against home to Sutton. But I mean, it'd be a good appointment, do you think, for Welling?
Yeah, obviously it will be. Yeah, I wish him well in it. Obviously, I don't know if he knows too much about the league he's going into. But it'd be new to him. Someone can't shoot outside.
Yeah, so they're in 15th in it, played 21, 7 drawn 4, lost 9, 27, 31, 25. So even one win there could shoot him up to 10th. So
wish him the best with it. Be a new challenge for him.
And I know they should have. His first game should have been this weekend against Peterborough, and I think they called that one off. So it'll be an interesting game.
He's going to be there. Come on the way. Fair enough.
He's doing a great job. He said earlier on that he was going to get there. But this weekend, then games this weekend. I mean, are you interested? Interested to see what? I know you're interested.
We've got a massive game, mate. We're looking forward to going to Cray. Decent playing. This is Bromley's ground, and they're a great side, and we're looking at everyone wants to. And I see an interview that Joe Vine's done about. Everyone wants to beat them, and when they're top of the league, of course you do. You want to go and get a result, and you want to sort of keep. We want to try and keep momentum and keep in touch with people around us, and and you sort of basically got a free shot a little bit, especially how well Cray are doing and how far clear they are. That there isn't, there are expectations of you going there getting a result for most teams in our league isn't massive. So, you've got a little bit of a maybe for your players, look, there's no pressure on here, just, go and have a little bit. So we're going to train tomorrow about putting 11 men behind the ball, because we're going to have a go, and then we train that on Thursday. And we'll see what we can do. See, we do the old one ball trick, see how many we can kick over the park. And it's a game you're looking forward to, and I think, they're a decent crowd, and both of us try and play football. So I think it'll be exciting. Both got a lot of firepower. If you're neutral, I'd come and watch it. I can 100% guarantee it ain't going to be 0-0.
0-0 then, right. Bostic League then at the weekend. Hornchurch have got Burgess Hill, Bishop Stortford Tonbridge, Bognor Potters Bar, Brighton Sea against Folkestone Invicta, two teams in real form. I'm not against each other. Shortman Athletic against Mersham, Dorking Wanderers against Harlow. Can they do it again? Enfield Town versus Corinthian Casuals, Haringey Borough looking to bounce back against Margate, Kingstonian against Whitehawk, Leatherhead versus Worthing, and Lewis against Wingate and Finchley. In the north, it's Sudbury versus Tilbury, Barking versus Canby Island, Basildon trying to get a win. They'll be taking on Brentwood. Bowers against Coggeshall, Bury against Felixstowe, Deerham v Averley, Grays v Whittam, Great Wakering versus Romford, Morden against Mildenhall, and Soham versus Haybridge. In the central, it is Bracknell v Cheshunt. What a game that will be after the first one, which I was a pleasure to be at. Romania versus Ashford, Hayes versus Chalfont St Peter, Marlow versus Bedford Sports, Molesley versus Uxbridge, South Park versus Hertford Town, Tooting against Hanwell, Waltham Abbey versus Egham, Ware versus Northwood, and Westfield versus Chipstead. And in the Bostic League South East, it's Ashford versus Greenwich, Cravey VCD, East Grinstead versus Three Bridges, Hastings versus Whiteleaf, Haywoods Heath versus Guernsey, Hyde versus Sevenoaks, Phoenix versus Horsham, Ramsgate v Sittingbourne, and Winstable Town versus Faversham. And the big games for Phoenix keep coming as well.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean. They've got Horsham last, they've got Whiteleaf the week after. And they played us. But Dean's just come on here, Dean Sawyer, just gone. If VCD play like they did against Phoenix, they could surprise Cray. Centre backs will need to be super again. Yeah, like I said, whether we were decent against Phoenix as we were on Saturday as well. So looking forward to it. But there's some big games, like I said to you, Dave. I can only go about in our league where a lot of the playoff lot are playing each other, and it's still got up to go. It's good.
So, what type of record have you got against Cray and Tony? Have you got? Or Tony's team, shall we say?
Well, it's different because obviously
it's
not very good. We lost 2-1 at our place in a good game, to be fair. Could have gone either way. We were 1-0 up. Charlie put us 1-0 up. We should have got another penalty, I think. But they were very good second half. Last year we drew 0-0 at home. Lost, I think it was 4-3. They got a last minute winner at their place. Very entertaining. Two good games, to be fair. We set up a little bit different away from at home, to be fair, than we did away. I think I can't remember after that, if I'm honest with you. I think that's it, because we was in, I think we might have been in a different league to them after that. So yeah, I think that's it. But I can remember. Tony must have no bang on, but...
Here's Steve. Hello, Steve.
Hi, mate, you alright?
Yeah, not too bad, mate, not too bad. Because here, as you know, with Keith, but...
Yep.
So, I mean, for people that don't know, because Steve, manager down at Tonbridge, and I suppose one of the first questions for me will be what type of, or how pleased were you to actually get the signing of the legend, Mr. Reid?
Yeah, no, we spoke to him in the summer, had a good 2-hour meeting with him, and he's someone that we watched last year and the year before, and we know he scores goals, and we was crying out for someone like that as well. Wasn't sure if Alex Akrofi was going to sign or not, and I wasn't going to wait about, and when he said he wanted to sign after the meeting, it was music to our ears, because he had a few other offers, but he liked what we said and what we was trying to do, and he was pleased to come. And he's had a bit of a stop-start season. He had a couple of hamstring problems, nothing major, but not playing his full potential. And the last couple of weeks, he's got a bit between his teeth again, proved by scoring the 2 goals in the last 2 games.
And of course, also picked up another old Harlow player as well, of course, in Chindy McKenzie as well.
Yeah, another one that, like I say, when these players come about, you have to move people about with in terms of the budget we've got, and it's 1 in, 1 out sort of thing. And to have someone like that available, that's runs in behind, scores goals as he proved Saturday. It was a no-brainer when he come available to have a chat with him, and lucky enough he chose us. I know there was other clubs interested, but he chose us, and very grateful for that.
Hi Steve, how are you, mate?
Hello, Keith. Not bad. Yourself?
Yeah, I'm very good, mate. Very good. Steve, obviously I see, but just going more on to what Dave's saying, how difficult was it for you to release Tommy Whitnall? Because obviously he's been at the club for years, and I know sort of how much you thought of him as well, and I know what the fans do at Tunbridge as well.
Yeah, it was massive, really, because like I say, he's been with me from the start. He gave everything you want him to do in training, in games. But I looked at it and I had to release someone. He wasn't on contract. And I had to be fair to him as well. It was due to budgetary matters, but also at his age of 30, he wasn't playing regular, and I couldn't see him getting in. So it was a bit of both, really. But it's very hard to let someone like it go, because I know him, I know the family. I know he gave everything for me when he played. But sometimes it just comes to an end, and I had to make a decision, and unfortunately it was him to go. But he won't find it hard getting a club. I'm sure there's plenty been interested in him already, and he is a good player. But like I say, I went in a different direction, and it was no different when I had to get rid of Jerome Sobers, who was my captain for 2.5 years. But you've got to make these decisions, as you know, Keith, and they're difficult, and they're not the best part of a manager's job, but it's got to be done, unfortunately, and like I say, it was hard, but it was needed in my eyes.
Yeah. So now you're halfway through the season, Steve. How would you sum up your first half?
Started really well, and then we had a dreadful November and December, absolutely horrendous, and it was very hard to take because we didn't know where the next win was coming from, and so the turn of the year, we sort of got a draw under Brighton Sea, where we showed a lot of character from 2-0 down, and we played Kingston, and through Lee Dynam's words and myself, I thought we deserved it because we was hungrier than them, and that may have turned our season, the Brighton Sea result coming from 2-0 down, but we was on a terrible run, and we've got to look at it, but albeit being on a terrible run, we're still not too far away from them playoffs, and
yeah.
Like I say, Haringey done tremendous to go on that run they did and put themselves in the driving seat. And even though they lost on Saturday, they'll still be confident that they can kick on again because they know they've done it once, they can do it again. But like ourselves from the start of the season, we won 7 out of 8. We know we can go on a run like that again. It's just a matter of the boys being positive, and a bit of luck on the day as well helps. But yeah, we're pleased. We would have been more happy if we hadn't have mucked up November and December. But you know as well as I do, Keith, you can't bring them results back. What's done, and you've got to look at what's left, 18 games, and see what you can get out of them.
Yeah. Was you getting nice tweets after the Kingston and Saturday's game from the person that thought you should have your contract paid up?
I was just about to ask that. Yeah.
Well, what do you think? that gives you an answer, mate. It's a minority.
Yeah, I know.
I've got to get out of the habit of biting, if you like, or trying to give people answers that don't deserve it, really.
Yeah. But you're passionate, Steve, and I think
it hurts.
Yeah.
It hurts when people put things like that because you're doing it to be successful. You're doing it to make the club successful. And when you get things like that, it's a kick in the teeth, really. But like I say, you've written down here. No, did I get any tweets about it? No, of course I didn't. Probably waiting for bad results to come again before they do it. But it's part and parcel, mate. That's gone over my head. That ship sailed now. So I'm just concentrating on us trying to get as many points now between now and the end of the season.
So obviously coming up to Saturday, what are you looking for there, apart from the obvious?
Still for the way, it's going to be a tough game. It's going to be a very tough game, but it's one of those. You got to just go there and go for it. Really, I've looked at it now. It's all right playing lovely football and being tied with a bus car. What an exciting game that was! But if you don't get the points at the end of it, it's rubbish.
Yeah.
Let's get it right. It ruins your weekend. It ruins your week until you get to the next game. So we're going there. Obviously, boys got to be confident from the start of the year of what we've done. And hopefully we can get a result. But it's not going to be easy because they're a decent side.
Yeah, we were saying earlier, Steve, like when you look at where you are, and the playoff position, that between yourself, Bishop Stortford, and even Corinthian Casuals who are sitting in 13th, there's only 6 points from that last playoff place. Have you been surprised how tight it is? Because if you also look above you, you're a big club yourself, but you've got the likes of Worthing, Enfield, Folkestone. They're big clubs as well, aren't they?
Yeah, they've got some good fan bases. It's one of those, mate. It's such a tight league. People talking about different clubs spending money, and you hear it all the time, like a Dorking spending their money, a Kingston spending their money, a Tonbridge spending their money. At the end of the day, the managers get given a budget by the clubs, and they spend it wisely and accordingly to what they can, and how they think it's going to bring them success. And there's a lot of clubs, and it's very, very tight. So regardless if someone's spending ridiculous amount of money and someone's spending no money, it's such a tight league, and it proved Saturday with Haringey losing their first in 14 to Harlow that haven't been doing so well of late. Do you know what I mean? Or this season to what they should do, but they lost a lot of players. I think it's very tight, and I think it's going to go all the way to the end. So who wins the league and who gets in the playoff spots? And like you said, it could be anyone down past Corinthian Casuals if you like.
Does that add extra pressure on you, Steve? Because obviously, it's so easy, managers and all say, no, you just worry about yourself. But when it is that tight and there is so many teams around you that, one win can either drop you 5 places or push you up 5 places. After every result, you won Saturday, have you looked at other results around you and thought, what's gone on there?
No, and I've not even looked at the league table because we were second when we beat Dorking Wanderers on the 1st of December. I think after the Carshorten game, we were 9th. So you're going to go up and down like a yo-yo, because everyone's going to beat everyone. And it's just a matter of trying to get a consistent run like Haringey did. Yeah. Other teams will be asking for the same, but you just got to look at yourself and look after your own house, because you get them 3 points, then that's all you can be concerned about for that game. And then you look at the next game, and then the next game. You look too far ahead, then you get caught up with running away, thinking, we'll get a point here, we'll get 3 there. And it don't make sense. You just got to look at the next game, mate. Go with that, like every other team. I think you'd be silly to chase, run away with yourself, should I say?
Yeah, I mean, we was on the show, seeing you sitting up there, and of course Harlow. Then you lose to Harlow, and et cetera, and it just sort of fell away a little bit. Can you put your finger on what went wrong in those games to put you down into sort of, as you sit today, in 10th? Can you put your finger on what it was?
Yeah, we weren't good enough. I made some wrong decisions in terms of formation. The players weren't playing with any confidence. There's a lot of things that it buys into, and if you had a magic wand, you'd be able to win every game, wouldn't you? A couple of things went against us. The Worthing game, we was in control, and then we had a sending off that shouldn't have been a sending off. And then we ended up losing the game. So you can look and ask on about different things, Dave, but at the end of the day, we weren't good enough for them 2 months, and we are where we are. So we've picked ourselves back up.
Sorry, Steve. With it, obviously, just try and explain to people that are listening. Obviously, the life of the manager. When you start the season, you're doing so well and you're on a high, and then all of a sudden you have this poor run and things are going on, and then you're sitting there thinking, right, where you're getting a bit of grief, and then you're sitting there thinking, when's the next point coming from? What makes you sort of get out of that what you call rut? And obviously, then go and pick a result up like you did at Kingstonia and things like that. What got you through it?
You've got to have people that believe in you. I've got a board that believe in me, even though we might not have some of our supporters that do. Majority will and back me, which I've had a lot of that. I was in a bad place after the Carshorten game, thinking, am I going to be able to turn this round? Plenty of support from other managers, other people I've played football with, and that helps you as a manager, because you're there to be shot down. And when you get that amount of support that I got, basically tell me to carry on, it makes a massive difference, and it helps, and you just work even harder, and you just got to try and get the boys to believe their luck will turn. At 2-0 down at Brighton, you think, here we go again, until the last 15 minutes, and all of a sudden something happened. I can't tell you what, we kicked into gear and we got the result out of it. And that's all you can do, mate. Just try and work as hard as you can.
I mean, looking back at those fixtures, I mean, it was away to Kingstonian, away to Dorking, away to Haringey, away to Harlow, away to Worthing, and we lost him.
He's gone away.
But that must be difficult, must it? You've got like
4 or 5
five games all away from home, then Leatherhead, and if you look back from what from what Steve was saying, it's literally back to the 3rd of November, but 2-0, it's 1-1, then they lost 1-0, lost 4-0, lost 1-0, drew 1-1, lost 2-0, went beat Dorking, lost to Worthing, lost to Clifford Casuals, lost to Folkestone, lost to Carshalton, and then they've got that. So it was a real sort of sticky time to...
Listen, I know Steve well. He's a really nice fellow. He's coming across there, and he has done a good job there. And like I said, it's just good to hear, that he's, when you're carrying the weight of Tumbies, and the supporters are, they do want success, but they are, punching with some big clubs as well as them.
See if we can get him back.
But he's a, a good manager, and he's done a great job. Shows character.
Person you're calling, Steve.
We won't do that because he might give away his telephone number, so we'll transfer him. But how do you get through as a manager? Like, how do you get through a slump?
Do you know we've all been there, Dave, and the ones that haven't. 2 things. One, it makes you a better manager, right? I believe. And he said about the support he got from his directors and chairman and things like that. But when you're there, and I will say, and obviously I know Steve, and I read a lot of the tweets and I look at it. When you're struggling, it's a lonely place. When you're winning, there's a lot of people that jump on a bandwagon, right? And they love you. And I won't lie, I had a lot of grief last year and didn't think some people you sat there and thought, you two-faced gib, and that's being polite, and stuck the knife in a little bit. And this year now they want to be your mate, and you go or whatever. But for me, and Steve didn't mention this, but I was going to ask you this: the most important thing when you're going through a
Steve Nickens.
All right, Steve.
Oh, sorry, mate. Sorry about that.
That's all right. No, go on.
Yeah, I'll go through your question, mate. Phone just cut out.
That's right.
Sorry.
That's all right. Keith's got to ask you anything to say.
No, it was.
Yeah.
It was just going about, how you got through that patch, and that's what we're saying. And you were saying about, obviously, the support and so on. And what I was just, Dave was asking me the question when you just went missing there. But the one thing that you didn't mention, this is what I was trying to explain to Dave, is, it is lonely when you're not doing well. And people love jumping on the bandwagon when you are doing well. But obviously, it makes you, I think, a stronger, better manager. But the most important thing, and this is what I was trying to say to Dave, is that I think you've got to still believe in yourself. Because you do doubt yourself sometimes, don't you?
Yeah, 100%. You've got to believe in yourself, and that comes from reassurance from other people as well in the game and outside, family and things like that. Because let's get it right, I've been doing it 4.5 seasons as a manager, and there's people that have been doing it for 15, 20 years, and like you said there, Keith, it is a lonely place when things don't go well or things aren't going right. What people on the outside don't see is the amount of games you go and watch, whether it's daytime or nighttime, the amount of phone calls you have to deal with, the amount of personal issues with your players you have to deal with as well. And that's quite taxing on the brain. But people don't realise that. You get phone calls on a Saturday morning. I can't, I'll be a football gaffer, but there's been a few things going on this morning, family-wise. And you have to say, well, don't come in. No, I need to come in because it gets me away from the troubles. But they're not in the right frame of mind, and you've got to deal with that sort of situation, and people don't understand that. And you can't go out and tell every supporter exactly what's going on with your squad, because that's unfair. And you've got to sort of like take all the abuse, the grief and stuff like that, knowing that you want to let all this stuff out, but you can't. So it is a lonely place in that way. But listen, mate, it's one of those, you've got to, if you've got good enough people around you and you believe in yourself, like what you said, Keith, and believe in your ability that you turn it round, you will do. Because a lot of it's psychological, mate. And it's, you turn up in this doom and gloom frame of mind that you're going to lose again. You can't do that because that rubs off on the players. And they pick up on that. And one thing I've got a good group of lads there that are all behind me, and have been from day one. And And like I say, the performance of Brighton through the last 15, 20 minutes, which Tom Rothery, the manager, said, deserved it. And like I say, it's nice to hear from that. You know what I mean? So, saying that you boys are behind you, and that's what you need. And that's what gets you through it as well, your players.
Well, on a sort of brighter note and everything else, I mean, there's one person that I get to speak to sort of every Thursday stroke Friday night, and Glenn Driver, and he's always singing your praises. I mean, I mean, are you surprised, Glenn wise, that he's not back in the game at the present minute in time?
Yeah, I think so, mate. I haven't spoken for a couple of weeks. I don't know if he's applied for any jobs or any jobs have come up around where he's at. So he's a good manager. Him and TK done very well together at least, and put them on the map after Richard left. Kept them going after Richard left. Gone to their highest position last year in the playoffs, and unfortunately, what happened to him was, like I say, it happens, and there's probably more to it than meets the eye. But he's done ever so well for that club, and whoever gets him next is going to have a great manager. I know he says that about me, but it's just true. You know, that's a mutual respect we've got for each other. You know, we went all the way to Leicester, the game got called off. He had to shoot off, but he put his hand in his pocket and bought all them players a drink, all my players a drink, because of the wasted journey, and not many people do that. Do you know what I mean? It's unlucky, get back on the bus and off you go. But to do something like that was fantastic, and my players remember that. Do you know what I mean? And that sticks with you. That shows a sign of a true gentleman rather than just a manager. But I hope he gets back into it soon.
But tap water don't cost nothing anyway.
No, mate, you're right. When we started throwing in the double vodkas and that, he soon shut off.
So just obviously coming into the second half now, Steve. You know, and we mentioned how tight it's going to be. Are you looking to add any more players to the squad to try and get you sort of obviously a little bit more stronger?
Not at the moment. Keeper can't do it. We haven't got any money. It'd have to be one out and one in. You know, I've had to send young Callum out on loan to get some games. Obviously, Tommy Whitnell went, allowed me to bring Chinadu in, and that's how we've got to work it. You know, I've done the interview the other week that said we haven't got someone backing us where we put loads of money in. We have to work it, and if someone comes available and we think it's going to help us, we'll bring them in. And then what happens is someone has to go, and that's just the nature of the beast, unfortunately, the way we're working. But I think every club's in that situation. Well, every club, majority of clubs are in that situation because you have to keep your budget to what your chairman wants it to be.
I don't think it's just supporters and people that don't actually see that, do they? They just see, oh, it's Tonbridge or it's Kingstone in or whoever it might be, and they just think, oh well, they've just got the money, they can just go and get who they want whenever they want. They don't see the fact that you've got to balance the books to be able to bring that player in.
Oh, exactly, and then, like I say, we know what we've got to do behind the scenes. Meeting with the chairman quite regular, and he's as good as gold. One of
Hello, still there?
He was saying his chairman's good as gold. Yeah,
I know he's gone. But we're out of time almost now. But yeah, I mean, it is that type of thing, isn't it? Not many people actually get to see that side.
No, they don't, and that's why I try and ask some questions to the managers that come on. It's even for myself, and you trying to give people on the outside just a little bit of an insight of what it is like being a manager, and phone calls and messages. He's right, and the personal stuff you have to talk to about players and whatever, and then it's just, there's a lot of stuff going around at the moment, and it takes a lot out of you as well. Even personally, you could have someone even close, a friend, like a player that's friend that's going through some trouble, and it might even affect you in that way. And it is difficult, but you just got to keep going and try and be professional. But Steve's one of the better ones. He's very good. He speaks a lot, and I talk to him quite a bit as well with players, and he'll help anyone out he can as well.
Well, time has run out yet again. I mean, the 2 hours just absolutely flown by yet again. But all I will say to everybody is, hopefully you'll get the results like we always say at the weekend. Don't forget at the weekend we'll be back with the preview show on Thursday to Friday this week, and we'll be previewing the games. Look out for the games that we're going to be doing later in the week as well. But a massive thank you to Keith being with us tonight, and of course for Avery for hosting us yet again. And until then, we wish you all the very, very best at the weekend. Good night.